Okay, good morning to all of you. I hope the slide is visible. Please confirm. You start right away.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you. So, this class will discuss actually probably this and the next. We will discuss primarily about the organizational structure of airports as well as airlines, and also about airport revenue, that is the sources of income of an airport, how they are categorized and how they are linked with the operations of the airlines and the movement of the passengers. So these are the two topics that we'll be considering in the ongoing sessions. Prior to that, I'll just complete what we have been discussing yesterday. There was one slide which was remaining. We had just viewed about the statement of what is meant by an airport master plan, which provides guidelines for expansion and which will require all the needs which are laid out based on the process that we discussed yesterday. That is looking at the deficiency or looking at the requirements, the deficiencies, evaluating the alternatives, and then making a final print. So an airport master plan is a reflection or is a result of all these activities, and it provides a picture about how the development is going to be, expansion is going to be. So how is that useful? This slide which was left out yesterday. The utility of the master plan, and I guess the from a general perspective, the utility of the master plan is very obvious. It provides blueprint for the long-term development of the airport. So, in essence, it provides a graphic representation of the features which are currently existing and what are going to be the additional ones, and which helps make an estimate of how much of additional land use is going to be. So any expansion, actually most of the expansions will require acquiring more land, right? So how the utilization, or how, what is going to be the requirement, what is going to be the utilization of the newly acquired land, that can be clearly seen from the master plan. And once you have that kind of a picture, it provides a realistic plan, realistic time schedule for the development. That is, how much time is it going to take for the acquisition of for acquiring the land, for completing the construction, etc., and providing the facilities, etc. So all that can be sort of extrapolated once you have a master plan. So it helps in preparing a time schedule for the development activity for the whole process. And similarly, so that is time, and about money, how much money is going to be required for acquiring the land, for completing the construction, and depending on the time schedule. So because money, the financial planning has to be closely linked with the time schedule as well. It can the time schedule can have a strong impact on financial planning. One way that it can impact is, say, if it is going to be quick, then lot of intensive utilization of financial resources will be required. That is, you may have to emphasize on the efficiency, or efficiency and intense use, which means that more laborers will have to be employed, more equipment will be required, and a faster turnaround will be required, which all will require high investment. On the other hand, if it's going to, for several reasons, if it is going to be delayed, then the financial plan also should be reflective of that, because there is going to be inflationary impact on the projected numbers. So in either case, financial plan will be required, will have to be prepared in accordance with the master plan. And then at each stage, the progress has to be validated against what is the plan which is originally prepared. And then if there are variations or if there are anticipated variations, then the alternatives have to be investigated as well. So there also in the monitoring the progress and validating it against the requirements is also a way that the master plan can be made use of. And then uh, all the issues that relates to, say, as we discussed yesterday, to the people around, so the communities, etc., as we saw in that video of Heathrow Airport, so presenting the plan to people or to communities which are going to be directly affected by the expansion, and that requires providing them a clear picture, a convincing picture, a realistic picture of what is going to be the expansion plan, and how is it going to, or how is how sort of how their possible or interruptions to their lives, potential interruptions to their lives are going to be minimized by the plan. So all that has to be explained, and there also the master plan is going to be useful. And for further continued growth, this is going to be the source as well. So for the further expansion also, the current future master plan is going to be useful. So these are some of the requirements or some of the objectives of the plan, master plan, or some of the avenues where the master plan is going to be extremely useful. So this has to be the culmination of all the processes that we discussed yesterday. That is, the preparation of the master plan should come from all the various steps that we discussed yesterday as part of the planning. Okay, now we move on to, so these two slides is what, this is what I'm just continuing as what we discussed yesterday. Now we move on to the topics that we are starting afresh today. The organizational structure. The organization structure for any company or any establishment, any institution for that matter, as we know, provides the administrative perspective of the operations. Administrative perspective, more than administrative perspective, the structure in which the administrative perspective is reflected. So for the airport operations, the administrative perspective, from the administrative perspective, the various activities which are involved should be categorized. Now, when we say categorizing here, these are being we are talking about an administrative categorization. So, which means that each of them should be classified in such a way that a person who is expert or is experienced in, or is knowledgeable in managing those activities, can be there in a responsible role at the top of those functions. And then there can be people who report to him or her, or and at various levels below. So this kind of a structure can evolve by identifying the various operations from the functional perspective. So what we have listed here in this slide are a typical representation of the activities, various operations from the functional or administrative perspective. So airport security operations, for example, all the security related activities, we know that it's going to be quite intensive. The policing and the function of the security staff, etc., which requires a lot of checkings, ensuring on any time proper law and order within the airport premises, and to avoid any mishap, and also to react quickly if there is any incident which violates the law and order in the premises. So all that, and which also includes being prepared to meet adversities, etc. All these come under the functional category of security operations. So you can possibly have a department, a division, which oversees all the security operations. So that department will have a senior person as a manager, and you have people who are reporting to him or her. Similarly, maintenance operations, that is facilitating the infrastructure, that is the operation of the infrastructure, which helps having maintenance of the aircraft, and updating, rather uh, providing time to time the required expansion to those infrastructure, which can help accommodate additional requirements of the aircraft maintenance. So it's a entirely different stream. So please note that when we are talking about categorizing from administrative perspective. So security operation, maintenance operation, as we can see, are quite different, quite diverse, right? So you need to have a person who should manage the security operations. You certainly need to have a different person who is focused and who is experienced in the line of maintenance operations, overseeing that particular stream of activities. Similarly, public relations, that is addressing public grievance, particularly in the event of expansion, etc., as we have discussed yesterday, addressing the concerns of the communities, and also even other ways on a day-to-day basis, addressing the concerns of passengers, other users of the airport, etc. And an airport cannot function in isolation from the public, obviously, right? So there should be a healthy contact, sustained, healthy, cordial relation with the public who uses, or who in any way, who is by any manner, who is connected with the operations of the airport. So you need to have a public relations department with an experienced person to manage it administratively, and you should have adequate staff under the public relations. Then activities related to leasing and other commercial activities related to the property, and you need to have a commercial handling development operations manager, or a department which is focused on such activities. Airport rescue operations in the events of accidents or other incidences. So this can be, say, aircraft rescue operations certainly should be a focused group, and we know that it's not called in regularly, and it's a rare occurrence where you need the operation of that group. But there should be one which should be focused on it, because when required, there should be a team, there should be a group, there should be a division which will work with focus on the activities related to rescue operations. So it's also an integral part of the administrative structure of the airport management. Similarly, firefighting. Firefighting is also, as I just mentioned about rescue operations, firefighting is not something that you require every day. But then you need to have a firefighting uh, department which is ready to act at any point of time with the minimum notice. So firefighting operations also should have dedicated division, dedicated resource, dedicated task force, and equipment, which can be called to work at any given time. So these are some of the activities, some of the administrative category. Actually, I mean, you can have even others, because uh, depending on the diversity of operation of the airport, and also the size of the airport, and the traffic, etc., you can have other categories of divisions also, which themselves will have to be updated from time to time. So these are some of the operations which, from the administrative perspective, can be considered as divisions of a airport management organizational system. Any questions so far? No. Okay, then I'm just presenting a picture here. I've just taken from a US side, so to have all that American ingredients in this, which is a typical organizational structure for airports. For an airport, a fairly large airport, where this is just to explain or just to clarify some of the divisions. The first will be a board of directors. You'll have a team with specific administrative knowledge and broad knowledge in the various aspects of the business related to the airport, and a very, very senior and experienced team. That's the board of directors, like board of directors of any company. And then you will have a general manager, kind of a CEO, etc., who is in charge of all the operations. So all the operations will individually will report eventually to the general manager, and he or she can have an assistant general manager, maybe, may not be, but then it's possible to have an assistant general manager, and there will be further function or the further divisions of the functions reporting to that person. So this is just a typical organizational structure. That is, it may belong to one particular airport. It's not that every day has to follow the same structure. This just to give a look and feel of how diverse it could be, or how what could be the general nature of airport organizational structure. Okay, so specific to this, what is shown here is that there are three departments which are directly reporting to the assistant general manager: corporate management and business development, legal division, and public affairs. So they are all departments. So the various departments which are reporting to the assistant general manager, who eventually reports to the general manager. Now, this is not all. You will have other departments which will have sub divisions under them. So these three are reporting, but then there are other major departments which will also have subdivisions. We'll just look at some of them. So airport finance department, for example, also as per this structure, the finance department reports directly to the assistant general manager. Now, within the finance department, you have accounting, you have a section for budgeting and planning, you have a section for cash handling, that is dealing with cash flow directly, like tellers, cashiers, etc., who keeps track of where money comes from, where it goes, the bookkeeping, etc., on a day-to-day basis. So that's cash handling. So cash handling, budgeting, accounting, all that come under the airport finance department. Similarly, administration department. Administration is all activities other than what is concerned by finance and say and other individual operations. So like human resource, property management, procurement of materials, office supplies, etc., required for the day-to-day functioning of the airport. So all that are, as per this structure, reporting to the airport administration department. So human resources is also reporting to the airport administration department. Now, depending on the volume of each of these departments, the volume of activities, the volume of task force, the people who are working, number of people who are working, etc., you may have managers or assistant managers at each level. Okay, so airport administration department may be having a manager to whom the human resource manager may be reporting to, or it may be an assistant manager as human resource. So it all depends on how the how big each department is, how wide the scope of function of them is. Yeah. Similarly, the operations department, which as per this organizational structure, the three activities: ground operations, domestic terminal operations, all operations like passenger handling, the luggage handling, etc., which are part of the terminal. And if there is an international terminal, the activities related to that. So all these are reporting to the airport or functioning under the airport operations department. Similarly, engineering department, which basically takes care of all the electrical, mechanical. So when you say electrical, all the power systems, all the supplies, and the mechanical, the movement, the maintenance of the conveyors or the anything that moves, all the mechanisms that are under the that will require attention of mechanical engineers. Similarly, communication and civil works, etc. The construction works and maintenance of the runways, etc. all come under the civil works. So all that are reporting or are organized under the engineering department. Now, then security or the security related activities like firefighting, medical emergencies, police force, all that will be a separate department. So these are some of the divisions which are coming under the different. In fact, I guess I mistakenly told that this is a US structure. Actually, this is not. There is another chart which I have taken from US. This is more like that by going by the division names and the manager names, etc. This is closer to what we have in India and also many of the European airports. US will have, I mean, actually the divisions will be similar, but the names that they give for senior managerial division heads may be slightly different. That's all. Anyway, it doesn't matter actually, US, Europe, or India, but because we are just only the titles vary, but the functions and the categorizations of them from the administrative perspective will be usually comparable. Okay, but their sizes, the scope, or the interrelations may vary from airport to airport, but overall the broad categories will look similar. This is from the airport. I just put this as an example. This from an airport site itself, what their current organizational structure is. Okay, I should say current because this can evolve over a period of time. And this structure, organization structure, is taken from the website of KIAL, that is Kannur International Airport, an airport in Northern Kerala, which is fairly new actually. It's established only a few years back. It's an international airport, still in its path of development and growth. I just taken it as one of the new airports. So you can just see it's similar to what we have. The divisions, the names may be different, but overall the categorizations look comparable to what we just see, what we just saw as the general typical format. You have obviously a board of directors, which is common to all airports. We'll have, like any other company, we'll have a board of directors. And in this case, you have a managing director. So it's not a general manager, it's a managing director. So as I mentioned, the titles can vary. Okay, so here a managing director who is reporting to the board of directors. So a managing director is an individual who is working to a team of the board of directors. And the MD has a principal secretary reporting to him or her, and then have various departments that are reporting to him, to the MD. So you have a project advisor, again, an individual. Then you have an executive assistant to MD. So these are all administrative roles. They are all individuals. Okay. As opposed to that, the MD has several departments that report him or her, like say for example, if you look at the project engineer, he or she has a complete list of personnel who are reporting, and then you have the HR team, which is headed by the manager HR, and then you have the manager for finance, etc. So you have a manager for finance, you have a manager for HR, which means that there is going to be a managerial team. There is going to be a team which is under the manager for finance. There is a team which is under the manager of HR, so HR manager. So all these are reporting to the managing director, and then you have other subdivisions like that of engineers and the engineering team, etc. Apparently, in this, I would expect that, though I don't see the security. So there is security personnel assistant actually reporting direct to the managerial to the MD. A team is not shown there, but it probably is directly reporting to the MD as well. So this is a typical structure. This is one specific example of the organization within an airport. Kannur International Airport is not a big one yet. It's an international airport, but then the traffic is not as big as in some of the major airports, certainly. So I would expect that the number of persons, number of staff, and the task force, etc., will be relatively less. So you will have, for larger airports, major airports, you will have more complex organization structures. You will have more. You are likely to have more divisions, more teams, and more personnel who are working there. Okay, now so that's about airport management. We'll also look at the nature of airline management. Right? That is it. Probably I'll stop here. Sanjay wanted some other discussions also. So if you have any, we'll continue this in the afternoon. If you have any questions about what we discussed so far, you can raise now. Others, we'll see what else is to be discussed. Any questions? Okay. Sanjay, you wanted to ask something.
Yes, sir. Sir, shall I share my screen?
Now, before that, 1 second. That slide was visible till the end, right? Or did you
Yes,
make
sir. Yes,
correction?
sir. We can see the present organizational structure of KM.
Okay, fine,
Yes.
fine. So I keep getting some error messages. Yeah, you can do. 1 second, then I'll stop sharing. You can share it now. My this I there is some connection issue. You try sharing it now.
Yeah, yes. Sir, is the screen visible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, sir, so this is the grade 21 paper. I had doubt in this question number 43.
Which one?
43, sir.
1 second. Give me a minute.
Yeah, yes.
43, is it?
43. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, sir, they have given the inlet velocity and the intake enthalpy, and the exhaust enthalpy is also given. And they've given the m dot f by m dot a, that is the f fuel to air ratio, and they have given calorific value of fuel. And the loss of weight is given. They're asking the exhaust velocity of jet. Sir, I tried to solve this using energy equation. I'll just show you the workout. This, can you see this, sir?
I can see this.
Yes.
Because I think I've seen a similar problem earlier also. And actually, even in the class, we have worked out something where with the velocity was calculated, I think.
Okay, sir.
If I
But
remember correctly, it is similar.
yes,
Show your calculation once again.
yes, sir. So I'm not getting the answer in the range. It's a problem.
Yeah, 1 second. H1
Yes.
plus V1 squared by 2 plus Q in minus Q out is equal to H2 plus V2 squared by 2, and Q in is equal to F into CV. The steps
Range
looks okay to me.
6.
Steps
Yes,
looks
sir.
okay to me. If you are not getting, you just send it to me. I will also try.
Okay, sir. The range is
Because
605 to
that, the
607,
way
but
the way that you have written the energy equation, it looks okay. H1 plus V1 squared by 2 Q in minus Q out is equal to H2 plus. That looks okay to me actually. If there is an issue in any other this one, I'll also give a try if you're not getting the answer. Yeah.
okay, sir. Because I checked my calculation multiple times and I'm still getting the this answer 640.23,
And
but the range is
send that to me. I will once again. I'll
yes.
also go through the question independently and see if there is any catch in that. Yeah.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, and then I had a doubt in a question from turbine. So they had asked this question number 47. Sir.
44.
47.
Ah,
Sir, so they have given the inlet and exit rotor blade angles to be 21 and 55. And actually, they're asking they've given degree of reaction, they have given the annulus area and density. They're asking the mass flow rate through the turbine. So, mass
yeah,
flow rate is rho into rho VA. So, rho into VA into the velocity. So,
yeah,
sir,
yeah.
yeah,
Area you take as the normal projected area, which is from the
yes,
annulus. This one. Yeah.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Yeah. And then, sir, from degree of reaction, we can find the flow coefficient, and from that, we can find VA. So, R
VA.
is given
Yeah,
by 5 by 2 into tan beta 1 minus tan beta 2.
that should be
But,
correct.
sir,
Yeah.
tan beta 1 minus tan beta 2 gives a negative value. So, I don't know why beta 1 they've given being lesser than beta 2. Sir,
1 second.
is it the case in turbine that always beta 1 has to be greater than beta 2? Yes.
No, say there is that change in directionality may be causing an issue. That is, you have flow entering in one direction, and
Mm-hmm.
since it is a turbine blade, you will have flow leaving in the other direction because of the larger deflection.
Yes, sir.
So you, depending on that, you have to account for the
Yeah,
directionality
but
of
I
the
took the
system.
absolute
You may
value
have
and
to.
I got the right answer.
Sorry.
I took the absolute value like tan 55 minus tan 21 and I got the
Uh,
correct answer. But so the
uh,
formula says it's beta 1 minus tan beta 2. That's why I got
No, that's what I'm saying. So when there is that change in this one, you will have
yes.
to take into that actually that minus will go off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because that is because of the change in directionality.
Okay, 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 sir.
So if you are
And sir,
confused with that,
that yes, sir, yes, sir. Sir, actually, the turbine velocity triangle is a bit confusing. Like I'm not able to solve some of the questions because of that. So, in one of the questions that asked the work output from the turbine. So, as we write m dot u into v theta 1 minus v theta 2. I did the same, but I was not getting the answer. So can you
it
please?
say no, depending on the angle, it may end up being v theta 1 plus v theta
Yes, sir.
2. Okay.
Okay.
Again, that's because we just try to measure it in the same way, but then the
Yes,
flow
sir.
is actually turning back.
Okay, okay, okay. Mhm.
I, yeah, if required, we can have that. I will revisit that when we
Yes, sir. The
emphasize
turbine
that.
velocity triangle.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
Yes, sir, because they've been asking multiple questions from turbine. So,
From turbine, yeah.
yes, sir. And sir, another doubt was, sir, if the degree of reaction for turbine is negative, can we say that turbine will act as a compressor?
No, it doesn't mean actually. That doesn't make sense actually to say the
Yes, sir.
degree of reaction as negative.
Because degree of reaction is it's defined like the static enthalpy change along across the rotor by
Yeah,
the total
yeah,
enthalpy.
yeah. No, what I'm saying is that practically it doesn't make sense to say the degree of reaction is negative.
Okay, okay, sir. Hmm. And if the degree of reaction is 0, does that mean the rotor is not
Degree
working?
of reaction, yeah. Degree of reaction 0 means this one's the enthalpy, this one's the change. It's only the velocity which will change in that case.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And it's not common in gas turbines. It's only in hydraulic turbines you have category of turbines where degree of reaction is 0. In that is like when a water jet, the
Yes,
jet
sir.
is directly hitting the blades, and
Mm-hmm.
the velocity, so whatever turn is the rotation is happening is because of the change in velocity.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
So that momentum is conserved by changing the velocity. So when you have that kind of system, you will have degree of reaction 0. And in
Okay.
gas turbines and particularly aero applications, you don't have that.
Okay, okay,
In fluid
okay.
mechanics lab, I don't know whether you have noticed at the entrance in that mechanical engineering lab, fluid mechanics
Mm-hmm.
lab,
Yes,
when
sir.
you get into the lab, you can see turbine models where one of them is Pelton wheel. Have you seen that?
Yes, sir. Yes,
You have
sir.
not done experiment on that.
No, no, you're not an
That
expert. Yes.
Pelton wheel is an example where it's a turbine actually, Pelton
Okay.
turbine actually. It is an example where the degree of reaction is 0, and there it just depends on the velocity change.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And sir, the question number 48 was a similar kind of question as we saw the earlier one, and I got this correct, but I don't know why. What was the problem with the previous one?
You got it
This
correct, and
is
you don't know why you got it correct.
yes, sir. This is the same that we are. It's just a combustion chamber, and you have to apply the energy balance across the.
Right, okay. This you got correctly, right?
Yeah, this I got it correctly, sir. Yes, sir.
And in the
They have,
same, you have
yes, sir. They have
two
asked not
questions
to
of
neglect the fuel flow rate with respect to air flow rate. So I got this correct.
that is okay. That even in the other this one you have neglected that,
Yes.
right? Because you have not taken MF in the right hand side, so that's okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. And sir, another doubt I had was, sir, question number 14. Can you see this? Sir? So they're asking maximum power output is achieved for simple ideal cycle with respect to pressure ratio, and I don't understand how they say outlet temperature of compressor is equal to outlet temperature of turbine. Can they be related?
One second. I'm not
Yes.
able to read it correctly. Can you enlarge the display? I'm not able to read the correct temperature of
Yes, sir, I just
outlet temperature of compressor is equal to outlet temperature of turbine.
yes, sir.
Maximum.
So they're trying to relate the outlet temperature of compressor to the outlet temperature of turbine. So I don't know how can that be related. No, for maximum power output.
Uh, Let me go through it. It doesn't make sense actually in the first
Yes,
this
sir.
one, because unless you have energy
Sir,
input, you
even in the
cannot
ideal
have.
cycle TS diagram, we
No,
see
that
that
is
the
unless
yeah.
you have energy input, you cannot have this one. So if you just compress it and expand it,
Yes, sir.
that way you cannot just you cannot have the maximum this one. I guess it's not worded correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Seems to be
You
ambiguous.
mailed me this also.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just
sure.
go through options because I'm not able to read the options correctly. So I'll just go through it once again. You just send it. I go through those two
Okay, sir.
questions.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sir. Okay, sir. That's all I wanted to ask, sir.
Okay. Any
Thank
other questions? We'll meet in the afternoon. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.